check out the new hat, man.
Ooh, nice, dog.
Pretty
That
clean,
thing's
right?
yeah, that thing's awesome.
Yeah.
It's
So
a
we
moose.
yeah. Yep.
Fuck yeah.
Big moose, and then it has headphones on it and the sound wave, and yeah. So Big Sky bonus tracks. We just got some new merch, and we got some shirts coming our way too, and we got this hat, and it's pretty sick, man. I'm excited to try to get out there. I'm taking photos of it right now to try to get it out there for so people can hopefully go buy some.
Hell yeah. Who designed the logo?
So Headwaters Studio out here in Red Lodge, man, Paul, he crushed it. He does great work for like all of the people down here in Red Lodge and surrounding areas, and just does a wonderful job. And he's one of our sponsors for Big Sky bonus tracks. So he we worked out some stuff with him, and we're really excited to have him be one of our sponsors.
Hell yeah. Is he like a graphic designer and then
Yeah,
also a printer? Does he print it too or?
yeah, he does screen printing as well. Yep. Yeah, graphic design, screen printing. He does all the stuff for the Red Lodge Area Community Foundation, the Fun Run, which is a big fun run out here in Red Lodge, usually 800 to like 1,000 people, and he prints all of like the shirts for that, and he just crushes it for the community. He does a really good job.
Nice, dude. That's a cool gig. I like designing, like just the idea of making different designs for T-shirts or for different teams, and then being able to print it and have a business like that. It's something that I thought about, and I think it's really cool. So sounds like he's got a good setup going, and I'm jealous of it, I guess.
Yeah, man. Well, and I think if you ever wanted to get Adobe Illustrator or something like that, I don't know if you have the funds, but if you ever do, you could really practice in there and create some stuff and make some cool work. And I bet you could sell your designs. So
Yeah, we're getting it, man. I've been waiting till I'm done working 6-day work weeks, and this was my last 6 day or so. Now that I got my weekends back, I'm gonna sign up for the Illustrator because you get like I don't know if it's a couple weeks free or something like that, and then it's only like, I don't know, 20, 25 bucks a month. So
nice.
I wanna get it and play around with it and practice because it's something I've been wanting to do for a while.
So it sounds like you've had some long weeks. You're having 5 days on, 2 days off now, right?
Yep, starting next week. So this is my
That
last
must feel
six
good.
day. Yeah, it does.
How long has that been going on? Wow, yeah.
Yeah, about 2.5 months. That's pretty much the prime busy season at the greenhouse is from, the beginning of March until about now. So
Nice. That's awesome. I'm stoked that you get some more days off, or a full day off, I should say.
yeah, me too, man. It's gonna be nice. Got a busy summer planned. We're gonna be going out to the water and doing some swimming and taking the dog on some hikes, and yeah, we're looking forward to it. So
When you planning to go back to Jack's or to Alpine?
I don't know, honestly. It's kind of with the wedding in October, plus got some other things planned for the summer. So I don't think so. I don't think I'm going back, but we'll
Yeah,
see.
I feel that. I'm gonna try. I think maybe sometime in July if I can. But if I don't make it in July, I probably won't be out there until like Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I get that. It's hard. It's a long drive and everybody's busy. So,
yeah. But yeah, man. High Country Hangouts. We are here for what our fifth or sixth episode now. Yeah, sixth, I think.
yep, episode number 6, High Country Hangouts. So,
Heck yeah. And
welcome
if you
in.
guys like what we've been doing, like, subscribe, give us a follow on Instagram, High Country Hangouts, highcountryhangouts@gmail.com. Send us an email. Would love to get some notes about what you think about the podcast. And if you want to be on the podcast, we're looking for anybody and everybody. Yeah, if you have a blue collar job, we want to interview you. If you want to, talk about your art, we want to interview you. So you hit us up.
Heck yeah, that's perfect. That would be awesome.
Yeah, man. Let's start it off. We've been doing a segment called Plants Talks. Plants Talks, right? You wanted Plants Talks.
Plants talk.
Plants Talk. I love it.
As plants do
Um,
talk, yeah.
they do talk. And so, what is your plants of talk of the week? What do we got going on here?
Yeah, so plants talk, where we talk about plants. The first one, this is the first plant we've talked about, and we're gonna start it off with the dahlia. Um, a dahlia, it's native to Mexico and Central America, mostly in higher elevations, and people have propagated about 6 different varieties uh, for growing like ornamentally for flowers here in the U.S. Um, there's a whole bunch of different kinds of dahlias. There's like 40 different species, so the fact there's only about 6 propagated for ornamental plants is kind of surprising. But yeah, they just have a special look, and people like the way those 6 look. So it seems that oh no, sorry, I already said that. Um,
Well, I thought what was cool is I you said 40. I think I read that it was over 60. Is so was there a bunch of different information out there?
I just did like a quick Google search, and the almanac.com is a pretty useful source that I use sometimes. And they were saying about 40 different species. So
Nice.
maybe there is 60. I don't know. But I do know that plants are kind of like bugs where there's so many different species and different types that it's hard to keep track of them. So.
Yeah, totally. And last time we talked about, we had this segment. You were talking about not tiers, but I forget like the temperature zone.
Yeah, just for a quick reference, anybody who wants to know a little bit more about the hardiness zones, we talked about those in the previous podcast. So you can tune in and get a little bit more information about that. But the dahlia is going to be hardiness zones 6 to about 11. It's going to be more about 8 if you want it to be a perennial, because anything less than 8 gets pretty cold, and a lot of times your plant just completely dies and will not come back after the winter. Um, in reference to that map, there's not really any areas in Colorado, maybe far east Colorado, but nowhere in Wyoming, Montana, anywhere like that, that dahlias are going to be able to be perennials. They're going to be treated as annuals in all of those places. Um, One thing that you can do if you do love dahlias and you want to keep them, plant them outside for the summer months, and then after the first frost, a lot of the leaves are going to kind of get dark and die back. That's your that's your key or your cue to dig up the plant. It has these things under the ground called tubers. And they're little, well, they're like roots basically, but they're large and they're almost like bulbs, and they hold a lot of nutrients in there. And so basically, that's what allows the plant to come back in the spring are those tubers. So if they freeze, it kills them completely and they won't come back. So after the first frost, you dig those tubers up and you put them in a paper bag, and then you store them inside somewhere like 45 to 50 degrees. And then in the springtime, when after the last frost, you can go out and replant your tubers, and then your dahlias will come back. So that's
Do you do
like
this with any of your plants?
I've done it with a couple plants, yeah. Never a dahlia though.
What's the is it a challenge?
It's not too hard. There are plants that are a little more difficult than others, but I would say the a big mistake that I made is that I kept them too wet. They like to be pretty dry, um, not completely dry, but they don't drink hardly any water. There's very little light for them, and they're just kind of sitting there and hibernating almost. It's like a bear where it goes into a cave, goes to sleep for 3 or 4 months, and then comes out and starts eating again. That's basically what the plant does. It kind of goes into this hibernation mode, and if you overwater it, you'll just kill it. So I've done that to a few of my plants.
Dang. What's the difference between perennial and annual?
Yeah, that's a good question. A perennial is a plant that comes back every year, and you'll find that a lot of plants are perennials. It's just dependent on how cold of winters you get. So, like I said, dahlias are perennials in zones, 7 or 8 or above. So that means that when you put them in the ground, they're going to come back every year as long as you keep them, fertilized and cleaned up. But an annual plant is something that dies every year or that you have to plant annually. That's how I remember it.
Oh, okay. That's pretty
So
cool.
an annual you have to plant every single year, and that's going to be stuff like petunias, pansies, anything that's in like really bright in any kind of hanging basket or stuff that you get from the nursery like that. Those are usually annuals.
Word. And so my raspberry bushes, they're perennials.
Yeah, raspberry bushes are perennials. And then I think I said nursery. I meant greenhouse. Nursery is usually for trees and shrubs.
Have you thought about getting dahlias? Can you not have them out in Colorado, or can you grow it
No,
inside?
yeah. You can have them, and I've got several actually going right now. They're not blooming yet, but they're on their way. The ones that I have are from the greenhouse. I didn't grow them from last year, or save them or anything. So I just treat them as annuals and plant them every year. But they have really cool flowers, and I've taken some pictures at the greenhouse, and they hopefully can be up on the screen, and you guys can
Yeah,
check them out.
totally. Do you have any with you at the moment, or are they from your house? No.
I have pictures, but I don't have any plants with me yet.
Sweet. That's what's up. Yeah, man, that was fun. I really dig hearing about more plants and learning about this knowledge, and like getting to watch it back when editing. It's helps me retain it a little more. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And just one last thing about the dahlias that I wanted to say is that the earwigs love them. You know, people do complain a lot about having problems keeping the blooms healthy because a lot of bugs will get in there and they'll just eat all of the blooms off, and you'll just be left with green leaves and little sticks for stems. So you got to watch for earwigs, and then also
So
just got to watch.
are earwigs a bad thing for plants?
Yeah. Yeah,
For
earwigs
all
don't
all
really
plants?
offer. Yeah, they don't really offer any benefit. They
What are
mostly
some
just
good bugs?
some good bugs. Praying mantis are really good. Ladybugs are really good. I have a lot of biologicals that are super super small. You can barely see them with the naked eye, but they're these tiny mites, and they're predatory mites. So they eat aphids and they eat thrips and they eat whitefly. They eat a bunch of these other insects that are pretty harmful to the plants. So we release bugs to eat bugs to make the plants more healthy. It's really interesting. But earwigs are
Nice.
no good.
You hear that, people? Earwigs are no good. X-nay on the earwig. Um, did I interrupt you saying something, or do you have anything else on plants?
Nope, I think that was it. I just wanted to mention those the pest and a little bit of the disease. I was just actually just I was going to mention that powdery mildew can be a kind of a problem too sometimes. So just watch out for that.
Nice. Heck yeah, man. Well, let's go to the photo of the week, and it is of a moose. And so I was driving back home. I don't know, let's say a week and a half ago, and I was on the road, and then there was this cow, and she was just grazing, and it was really cool. She kept getting closer to my truck. It was really wild. I've never seen a moose just like not have any real fear and just continue to get closer and closer.
Dang.
And
So was it? It looks small. Was it like a yearling or?
I don't know. So my initial thought was that she was an older cow. I was talking to Sam, Sam from back home, and
Hmm.
I sent him a picture. He's like, "Oh, it looks like you just had a hard winter." So maybe it was just, a younger cow, and she was just had a rough winter, rough coat, and um, now she's just feeding. What I thought was interesting though is I'd never seen it like get on their knees basically
Yeah, I
and eat
noticed
like
that
that.
too.
I thought that was pretty cool. The well, one thing I like about these photos, and I'll put them all up here so you guys can see them, is you can see her teeth, and it's pretty cool to see her teeth. I've never seen inside the canine,
Yeah,
of the
that's
moose.
crazy.
And I didn't send that picture to you, Tab, but I'll have to next time. Um, but yeah, it was wild because she got within probably 4 feet of my truck, and usually once they see your car, they're hightailing it out of there. And I got lucky; I had my camera with me, and so as she kept getting closer, I just stayed inside, safe. Keep your distance, people. Do not go and get within 20 yards of a moose, or yeah, just stay away from them. They're mean.
Yeah, any animals, just Don't get close to them.
Yeah, don't be what people are doing in Yellowstone. Not cool.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
They're kind
that's
of like horse teeth, right? Probably.
kinda yeah. See if I can send this one to you, but it looks a little bit like horse teeth. Yeah.
Yeah, I found a dead moose skull before, and that's kind of what they reminded me of. So,
Where'd you find that moose skull?
up in Wyoming near Laramie.
Oh, sweet. Were you with Spencer or you guys?
I've been with him when I found one, and then I found one by myself as well.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
Um, what's it like hiking out there?
Oh, it's a blast, man. I love it out there. It's really harsh. It's really windy. You just got to be kind of prepared for the elements, but there's an endless country, man. You can walk out there for the whole day and hardly see anybody, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's what's up. It's kind of like it's like that out here, except the mountains are higher.
Yeah, you got the trees too, so I feel like it kind of cuts down on the wind.
Yeah. Well, not where I'm at, but yeah, the wind comes through this valley pretty harsh. But the mountains are pretty tall. It is thick as heck up here. These trees are really thick.
Yeah, that's honestly
Yeah.
the worst. The worst element is wind. I have a coworker who loves the wind, and it's so
What?
strange to me. I just don't understand. I'm like, you've never lived in Wyoming, man, because you would not really love the wind if you did.
The wind is the worst, man. I hate the wind. It's the worst thing in the world.
Yep.
It's
It could.
cold. It hits your face. It takes
y-
a perfectly sunny day and turns it into a cold day.
Yep. Or it takes a cold winter day and turns it into a freezing, miserable baloney day, dude.
Yeah. I mean, it's like -20, -30 out here, and with wind chill, it gets to -50.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Dang.
Uh,
So the moose, it was by itself though, huh? You took some pictures and then did it just keep moving along, or?
yeah, so I took some pictures. She has been back and around a few times. I've seen her a couple times now. Um, what was interesting is I think the day before, I think it was probably the day after, or a couple days after, is I was driving the quad around using a harrow rake to plant some wildflowers out near the pond, and she was there too, and she was just grazing. She's within, I don't know, maybe 20 yards, maybe 10 yards from me, and she didn't care. And that doesn't mean people get closer, still stay that distance away. But I was on the wheeler. She wasn't gonna get me. Wasn't really concerned about that. But she paid no mind to me either. She just looked at me and she's like, "All right, he's doing his thing. I'm gonna do my thing. No stress."
What does Poe think about it?
What was cool is he was out there with me one of the nights when I saw her, and he just sat on the porch and chilled. But sometimes, it depends. Um, it depends for sure. And his energy, maybe if he's gone for a hike, or if he's a little more tired, or if he's ramped up, he might want to chase it more. Um, yeah, it definitely varies. But he knows they're so big, and I don't think he wants to mess with them.
Yeah, that's good. Especially if one had a baby, because that's how dogs die, man.
Totally. And well, what's interesting is when I was a kid, I had this like faint memory of my old dog running out, and this was in Jackson, an Indian Paintbrush, which is right under uh, what is it, the Teton Pass. Um, and so I lived out there, and I had this faint memory of my dog Kala running out, and she was getting chased by the moose, and she was chasing the calf. And I brought this up to my mom, I don't know, maybe a year or two ago, and she's like, "No, they were actually playing." She would run out there and they would play and run around and chase each other. And I thought that was one of the like craziest things. I was like, "There's no way! What?" That was wild.
Yeah, that is crazy. And then a president used to ride one like a horse, dog. I swear.
Yeah, I think it was Roosevelt. I
Yeah, I
feel
think
like
we
it
talked
was.
about that last time, maybe.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
pretty cool. Um,
Do you remember, just on a quick side tangent, that one of the people we went to high school with, she had a dog and it ran out and got attacked by a moose. I think it was a year or two ago, and she ran out there and saved
yeah,
her dog, and it like broke some of her ribs and shit. And
yep.
the quote was, "Don't mess with me, you bitch ass swamp donkey." Thought that was funny.
Man, I know she had a long recovery, it sounded like too. It was not a good That was a terrifying situation.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. You usually don't hear about people getting attacked by moose. I mean, I guess you do, but it was right in town, right near our house. It was kind of an odd situation. So,
Yeah, that's we talked about it a little bit before. I've been charged by a couple and feel fortunate. I have not been physically harmed, and they are. I'd almost rather run into a grizzly bear, a black bear, yeah, maybe not a grizzly, but like moose are mean, man. They'll go toe to toe with a grizzly and not even like think about it. Especially cows with a calf. Like they're not gonna mess around.
yeah, just because they don't have super sharp teeth and razor sharp claws doesn't mean they're any less dangerous. Because a mom and a baby moose could be just as dangerous as a grizzly bear, definitely. So,
Yeah, and now don't get me wrong. I'd probably rather run into a moose than a grizzly bear. It's especially a sow real close. Terrifying.
hmm
What do you think would win? Do you think a grizzly bear would win or an ape or a gorilla?
oh, I don't know, man. I haven't had enough. I haven't had enough experience with gorillas. I would say that probably the bear would have the advantage with the sharp claws and teeth, but maybe the gorilla would be a touch smarter and a touch stronger. Like those silverback boys are big. Like they weigh probably about as much as each other. If I had to bet, I'd take the bear.
So I think I'd take the bear too. I think a gorilla is probably a little smarter, maybe a little more intelligent.
hmm
And I think they weigh. I think they only weigh like 600 pounds. 500. I mean, not only. And then I think
Yeah.
a grizzly weighs up to anywhere from like a full-grown adult male, 1,000 to 2,000 pounds.
Yeah, like a Kodiak bear, dude. Those things are crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
Those
That's a fun
big
little debate I like
browns.
to ask people. A little question.
I think the winner of everything though is straight up a tiger.
Yeah, they're pretty scary.
Those things are killing machines, dude.
Yeah, man. Mountain lions, I would not. I would hate to run into a mountain lion in the wild.
Yeah, me too. I don't know if we talked about this last time, but I remember there's this when they released the wolves back in, basically the wolves would just use the mountain lions to kill their food for them. So the mountain lion was so efficient at killing, the wolves would let it kill its prey, the mountain lion would eat it a little bit, and then the wolves would push it off and they would eat the kill and the lion would just kill something else and they would just, just keep going. They're
Yeah, that
crazy.
was a crazy story. I remember
Yeah.
hearing about that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um, they're so intelligent and excuse me, they just yeah, they're scary.
Yeah.
They're actually what I read or heard is they're running in packs now too. If you like, or a pride, and so
Mm.
like, and if you go towards like Mexico, that area, get a little more south, they're starting to run in prides, like they do out in Africa.
Damn, go down to Mexico, you could see a pride of mountain lions and wild dahlias. So
Let's go.
let's go,
Um,
baby.
cool, man. Well, let's switch it up. Let's talk a little football. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll close it out here with a little fantasy football talk. Have didn't have much going on last week, but it is the off season, so we're just trying to keep updated on any of the small stuff that's happening. Um, the two things that I can note that happened is that Jalen Waddle got paid and Nico Collins got paid, so that's pretty exciting for him.
Yeah, that's a you know I think Jalen Waddle is a number one. He's not quite like elite number one, but he's a number one. And then
Would you rather
Nico
have Jalen Waddle or Brandon Ayuk?
depends on the offense. I think I'd
Like,
rather have
who do you
Ayuk.
think's a better receiver?
I think Ayuk is probably the better route runner and receiver.
Okay.
I think they're neck and neck though. They're close. You know,
What about Smith, Devontae,
I'd take Jalen Waddle and um, I'd take
Ayuk?
Ayuk both of them over Smith. I think Smith is really talented and amazing. Like he's a great receiver. It's nothing like that he does, but it's more
He's
so
just a
just
little
he's
smaller.
smaller. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Um, Nico Collins has a chance to really show he's a number one this year. He did it at the end of last year. That's why he got paid. But he has a chance to like just really prove it this year because he came on late, and so it'll be cool to watch him this year.
I don't know if he's gonna be able to prove it, man.
Why?
I just haven't lost faith in Diggs. I think Diggs is gonna be their number one.
Man, I don't know. I don't think they brought him there to be the number one. I think they brought him there to just complement everybody else
I think that's fair, but I just think that he's more talented than Nico.
for sure. In his prime, definitely. I think he's starting to exit it. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
How
I
old
mean he
is he?
could
Is he 30?
31, 32, somewhere in there. Yeah. I mean he's still like a legit wide receiver, like still probably top 10, top 15, but
Yeah, I just think this might be a little bit more of a heater year than people are giving him credit for, I guess.
yeah, and fantasy wise, I don't think he'll be top 10, top 20, maybe top 20, but we'll see.
Yeah. It's either
Uh,
going to be him or Nico that's going to be in the top 20 because Stroud's going to have the arm and he's going to throw it. So,
True that. And Tank Dell will be in there mid year, just really crushing it. So,
yep.
um, who uh, who else got paid? Anybody else?
Mm, not that I can think of right now.
Yeah. Anybody who I guess out of the three, Nico, Diggs, and Waddle, who do you take first for fantasy?
Mm, I think you take Nico over Diggs, but I think Diggs is going to be the value, you know. People are going to write him
Totally.
off and you're going to be able to get him late for a value. But yeah, I think you take Nico.
And then also the Dolphins just picked up Odell too. So
Mm,
yeah, I think Nico might be the move. I wouldn't be surprised if Waddle has more production, but
yeah.
yeah,
Tyreek is just too hard to predict sometimes, man.
yeah, for sure. He's gonna have a good year. I bet he's gonna have a great year.
Yep,
I
me
guess
too.
Tua's looking good from what I understand. So yeah,
Nice.
yeah, man. Um, let's see. What else do we got to cover on fantasy?
I don't know. We were gonna mention we might talk about some fantasy football league stuff in terms of possibly how to get into one or what they entail, and just kind of get a little bit more information out there about how or what a fantasy league is and how to go about joining one because they're really fun and we're talking a lot about fantasy football. So we just thought anybody who's listening who doesn't know a lot about it could find that interesting or enjoyable. So.
Yeah, totally. I mean, if we want to just roughly go over it, usually it's 8 people to anywhere from probably 20. Um, you get a group of friends or even strangers, and you start a league up and pick a date you can draft on. And how long does a draft take?
Doesn't take too long, maybe like an hour to 2 hours, which I mean, it's fun though. It's not like a chore. It's just you get to sit around with everybody and kind of it's almost like a lottery system, you know, where you're kind of watching who gets picked and what the best options are and then you get to make your choice. So, it's enjoyable.
Yeah, be careful on Sleeper if you use it though, because sometimes it'll tell you you're in the app when you're actually not, and it auto picks for you, like it did with me. And then you lose out on the number one receiver you're trying to take, and it's a bummer.
Yeah, that was a bummer.
Yeah.
But, it's like a lot of people, I think, with fantasy football, they get overwhelmed because it's like, I barely even know 32 teams, let alone the players who play on those teams. And the way that fantasy football's set up, it's laid out in a way that's really easy to understand. It's really easy to follow, and you don't have to know all of the players, and you don't have to know which receiver's better than this guy because it kind of ranks them for you and it helps you make decisions that are going to be enjoyable to have a good like fantasy football season playing against your friends or family. So I would just say that don't be too intimidated by it before you try it, and give it a chance. It's really a fun time and a good way to stay in contact with friends and family that you might not otherwise. So,
Yeah, I think that's like I think we would still be close. I think if we didn't have the chat, if we didn't have that connection to everybody back home, I wouldn't feel as close for sure. It's been a good way to stay in contact with friends and continue to show love and support for everybody. And when there's big moments, we share it on the chat. When there's bad moments, we share it on the chat. And so it's definitely a great way to stay connected to people you care about.
yep. And it's also, we haven't done this as much, but it's also a good way to meet new people who have similar interests as you. Because sometimes when you're the only one who likes football and you want to play fantasy, but you don't know anybody, it's kind of hard to get into a group that you feel comfortable in. And it's fun to do, or that's fun to play with. So I think that just putting yourself out there and trying to meet new people that are interested in similar things that you are, it's worth it, and fantasy football is a good intro for that.
Yeah, man. I think that's a good way to end the podcast. I think that was a great little outro. For you guys that are wondering about online and listening on maybe Spotify, we are looking into that. Hopefully, by the time this comes out, it'll be on Spotify. So hit us up at highcountryhangouts@gmail.com, Instagram, all the good stuff.
Yeah, and I also got a new mic last time, so if you're still listening, let me know what you think about my new mic and how I sound.
Let's go. Appreciate you guys, and we'll talk next week.
Talk to you later, guys. Peace.